Try to be very brief. I do want to thank Ari. Congratulations to Margarita. I have to tell you, there were folks that were saying, well, she hasn't been really tested before. Margarita, you passed the test with flying colors. And during a very difficult time. And I just want to congratulate you and your campaign, and Ari, and big Democrats, everyone here. I want to also congratulate my colleagues, Senator Savino, on her tremendous victory, Assemblyman Simbrowitz on your strength of avoiding a primary, and your victory this November. Just a few words about this. First of all, the example that we just saw of Ari, Margarita, and the Assemblyman coming together is proof that politics should not be a blood sport. It should be about being a part of an honorable profession. As the Senator mentioned, it is a calling. It is about public service and helping others. And yes, I'm going to say, with the addition of social media, it has become, unfortunately, at times toxic, divisive, anything but honorable. We experienced that in this past election as well. You have to fight very hard not to respond. I'll be very direct. You know, a name that we don't really hear as much these days, but was very much in the press about 7-8 months ago. The former Assemblywoman of Coney Island, Pamela Harris, who many of us worked very, very hard to elect. It was a historic victory because no one really believed that she had a shot to win. And she was a community leader. She was a leader of a youth group, and we were dealing with the resignation of the former Assemblyman. That was quite a surprise to many of us. And the district split, because Ari talked about Ethan, but that district, the 46th district, it's a very odd district. It was gerrymandered. People drew this district years ago. I don't know how they drew, but they drew it, where they connected Coney Island and Brighton Beach, Seagate, all the way to Bay Ridge and Dyker Heights. And during the past 3 years, almost the last 3 years, has been election battles in this district that has really ripped apart the district, almost creating this Bay Ridge versus Coney Island dynamic. There was a contentious election, but I have to say this. It's very important that we have to unite our party. Critical that we have to unite our party. But we also have to treat people with more civility and basic respect. I congratulate, and I don't know if she's here yet, but I congratulate Dr. Frontis on her victory. But some of the vicious attacks against Ethan were also, for those of you who know Ethan, were really unfounded and outrageous. Let me be very clear. Pamela Harris is responsible for Pamela Harris, not Ethan. Not Mark Traeger, not Ari Kager, no one else. We worked our hearts out to elect someone who we believed wanted to do the right thing. And so I just wanted to say that. The district, Ethan actually ended up winning the entire, if you look at the way the district worked out, he won the Coney Island Peninsula. But here's something that I have to say, because this is a point I want to make. In New York State, there was higher turnout with the gubernatorial primary, but in parts of southern Brooklyn, turnout was flat or actually declined. In Coney Island, there were parts of our area that actually had lower turnout than 2 years ago. It's unbelievable to me. And I have to say this, folks, turnout in southern Brooklyn in general is a problem. If you look at where the candidates, where the governor campaigned a lot and others, central Brooklyn, over and over again, the Upper West Side, parts of northern Brooklyn, Park Slope. Did you see them campaign in southern Brooklyn that much? No, because they know that's not where the votes are. But I have to say, that hurts us. That hurts us. Because when it comes to critical decisions for some funding, or some other big decisions, that goes against us. We have to deal with this problem. Now, there are some politicians who don't want to increase turnout, because I think that they're insecure. But this is, I think we're with people here that do want to see more voters engaged in the process. So if you have neighbors, friends that are disillusioned with politics, but still have many complaints about the community, tell them that they're being hypocritical.
You have to register to vote.
You can't have it.
To Democratic Party.
You can't have it both ways. You can't point out to me that, oh, look, the street is dirty, there's potholes, or the park needs cleaning. Oh, but I don't. All politicians are corrupt. You can't have it both ways, folks. And there are people that want you to be disillusioned. There are people who want you to feel discouraged and disconnected. But that hurts the community. That hurts people. That hurts southern Brooklyn. So one of the areas that I think all the district leaders and all of the officials have to work on is how do we increase voter engagement and participation in southern Brooklyn. This is a very serious issue because the gaps are getting wider. There are, yes, 3,100 votes is an extraordinary number for this district. But I have my colleague, Helen Rosenthal on the Upper West Side, has 15,000 votes. We have to work on this. And you can't tell me our population is declining in southern Brooklyn. Everywhere you turn, there's condos being built, buildings going up. You can't tell me that people are disappearing. We need to work on increasing voter turnout. This is critical. Now, just one last item about education. I am having, much to the displeasure of certain bus companies, but I am having a hearing on school buses. Some of you might have read in the papers, I've heard complaints from parents that a number of our children who receive services to get transported to school by bus no one has picked them up. Some kids, it took over 5 hours to get them home. Some kids were dropped off at an unauthorized stop, and the parent had no idea where their child was. Some parents had to find out through a police precinct that their child was picked up there because the police picked up their children. We're also hearing reports that there are some bus drivers that were never supposed to be hired by the DOE because they had prior records and they had no business being near children. But I'm also hearing that for over 40 years, the city of New York routinely renewed these contracts with these bus companies knowing all this. And now some of these same bus companies are now calling their lobbyists, freaking out that I'm having a hearing. Let me remind them who I work for. I work for you. I don't work for the mayor. I don't work for the lobbyists. And I sure as hell don't work for the bus companies. I work for our children. And so I'm having a hearing on October 16th. A lot of people are freaking out. But the truth shall set you free. People need to be held accountable. These companies have contracts with the city of New York. If you fail to meet the letter of the contract, you don't deserve to have that contract. It needs to be voided or canceled. And so this is something, Ari, that will be getting a lot more attention in coming days. But I do take this serious. And lastly, in today's daily news, some of you might have saw the cover. that over 80% of our schools are not accessible to our children. That's a civil rights crisis. There are children who are being basically told by the school, you can't come here because of your disability.
And payments are late for
well, that's a whole other area as well. But we put into the budget in the last budget $150 million in money to start making schools more accessible. But this is where money from the state and other sources can be more helpful. It is unacceptable to me that our children cannot fully appreciate a public school. That there are students who have never seen the second floor of a building because the elevator has been broken for years, or some of them are lacking elevators. So these are issues I also plan to take up as far as public hearings. And again, I just want to thank all of you for just being dedicated members of our community, for always being so civically involved. And I just ask of you, how do you spread your magic to your neighbors and to your friends to get more people involved? Because if we could multiply this engagement, we will be that much more stronger. Thank you so much.